Last time on a set of glass wind chimes, the party had happened upon a corpse at the home of the usher. They then found an effigy emitting a great deal of black smoke up on the second floor, and with Amalia's wit and the shatter spell, brought it down to the first floor and destroyed it with a couple well-placed shotgun blasts from Kavi. There didn't seem to be much negative effects on Calliope, who is presumed to have a curse related to the entity that effigy is attached to, the large Reaper-esque holder of a large crooked staff with the lantern that sucks in that black smoke. They've seen a couple times. The first time at the safe house that Catherine had referred them to, and the second time perched upon the home of Abraxi. What did you guys do after that? I'm drawing a blank.
I can kind of remember most of it.
Literally drawing a blank because there was a lot of shit after that.
Yes, there was.
Okay, so after that,
I think that was when you went to the Atzenale house estate, and
Frederick. You talked Frederick out of being a terrorist.
Don't say we.
yeah,
Alright,
it was
we talked
Calliope.
Frederick.
Calliope. Also, closer to the mic, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wow, for the one session that Caro doesn't obsessively record everything.
I actually haven't obsessively recorded anything in a glass wind chimes.
Yeah,
Wait,
exactly.
can you not record last session?
Oh no, I recorded it, but I mean, like, Caro typically does, like, journal-y stuff. Like, Kaze's letters and record keeper and stuff like that. But either way,
Okay, I don't remember what exactly happened after that, but I do remember that we did go talk to Frederick.
Alright, here it goes. So we went to investigate to go finish off the ghost. We went to the cathedral, we met Frederick.
right.
Tried to warn us off. Took Calliope in, and we had 4 assassins set us, nearly killed Virgil.
Yep.
Escape.
It's all fallen into place. You escaped, and then afterwards, Frederick was in the Abraxi house that whole time. Because he was studying the wall.
You mean,
The sigil that Amalia wanted.
No, you mean,
That's Rudolph.
Or
No,
Inserafid.
it wasn't
Inserafid.
Rudolph.
Inserafid.
It was Rudolph.
Inserafid, yeah.
And Seraphin, yeah. And Seraphin Braxis.
Yes. He was studying the wall. And then... Right, you guys ran from the assassins. You lost them in the alleys. You went down into the small graveyard. You learned some names. You chilled down there and everyone rested. Then, while you were resting, Calliope was in the cathedral. Calliope got his fingers cut off of his right hand, and he passed out. He was thrown into a cell somewhere beneath the cathedral, and while you guys were resting and while Calliope was passed out, you guys had a dream. You went back to the gamer dimension, but it was heavily altered. Half of it was a frozen lake with massive frozen cresting waves and giant, like, monsters that were just frozen into the surface of the water. Very still image, and there was a crystal on a pedestal. You guys touched the crystal, you leveled up. Calliope saw the same thing, except when Calliope came back, his sister was there. He did not get her name. She offered some Pocky. Calliope had an abrasive first encounter with her, but she did give him a tonic that regrew his fingers in like a weird draconic fashion. And then after that, she noped out. Calliope, with his new ability to teleport that he had acquired from touching the crystal, escaped the jail cell to find Frederick was coming down to rescue him anyways. Frederick gives Calliope a set of clothes very similar to Frederick's. Oh yeah, another note is there were 3 different kinds of people in the cathedral at the time of the weird finger-cutting ritual that Calliope saw. There were the ones dressed in white that were basically doing Virgil things. There were the ones dressed in black that all looked to be armed the same way Virgil was. And then there was a third kind. And I'm going to have to go and listen to the last recording to remember exactly what their shtick was, because I don't remember off the top of my head. But either way, Frederick gets Calliope out, and while up on the wall of the cathedral, like wall up on the wall surrounding the outside, Frederick's like, yeah, I'm probably going to nope out of these guys. That was fucked up. And Calliope was like, yeah, well, me too, probably. Can I see your crossbow? Learned that the crossbow's almost 200 pounds. And then you guys came up out of the graveyard and went to the Atsenalian estate.
Right.
Yes.
With Inserafid.
And you're grouping up with Inserafid to go look for any crashed lifts between here and the Cirque District, where you came from.
And we discovered that everyone is cursed, and we got the snails to mobilize.
You got the Atsenales to mobilize. You talked to what was her name?
It was like
Jamie.
Shawnee.
Yeah, I think it was
gave a
Jamie.
name,
I think it
then-
was Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie was like her nickname. Or something.
For
Yeah.
in Jamiel or something, and
Yeah.
and so, and Jamiel is going to be talking to the higher ups in the Atsenalian family. Everyone's cursed. You got a severe hunch that there were 3 effigies, Amalia, and you notified them of that, and that you had destroyed one of them.
Yeah.
Great. So we're gonna start off in we'll say it's like 9 or 10 a.m. because you guys probably woke up around dawn. And that that means you would have had time to go about and do the things that you had just finished doing. So you guys are at the Atsenalian estate, and Seraphic is waiting over by the front gates.
Okay.
Yaroth, when you say chat is broke for you, is that in roll 20? You're not in roll 20. Is it voice chat? Can you hear us?
Voice chat. Voice.
Yep, we can hear you. Oh, you're cutting out pretty bad.
Oh, I need to get into roll 20.
It's probably a good idea, yeah.
Roll 20.
I just got it myself. For what it's worth, I do have like a shit ton of myriad notes in Virgil's like documenty bit that are just scattered everywhere. It helps me get in his scattered ass mindset.
Very apt.
You know, the doctor can break bones as well as he can mend is almost a threat now.
Right?
So, would anybody like to do anything before going and speaking to Inserafid?
I believe our artificers were making stuff.
Yes. That's right. Albus just finished making some artificial arms for himself. That I believe... yeah, I sent you the stuff for them.
Yep.
I'll also have
And he
to...
wanted to make something based on a squirting cucumber.
Yep. Okay. If you want, Kvi, you can delay setting out to go look for any possible parts to do that, but also you're going to be going out into the wilderness, so that might be a good place to start either way.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll go out into the wilderness, and if we don't find anything, I'll go look around at home.
I was also going to see where I could acquire a blunderbuss to give to Albus in order
Alright.
to create the long gun.
Do you wanna... Alright, roll, no, don't roll anything.
roll gun?
Probably the best people to give you any effective leads on that end would be Frederick, if you can find him. Rurik might know. He is a diplomat. He might know where, like, the Etzenalian stockpiles are, and you guys are kind of allies.
Alright, so...
You could also probably ask Rudolph. He's an investigator.
Instead of getting Frederick hunted down and killed by finding him, Calliope would go to Rurik instead. Is Rurik just kind of, like, available?
Yeah. He's kind of wandering the grounds, talking to others as a result of Jamie coming up and confronting him probably 10 minutes prior. It looks like he's essentially forming a task force.
Alright.
And as you approach him, he's just coming out of a building, and he's got a clipboard. And he looks up at you and goes, "Oh, those are some interesting clothes you have on."
Yeah, you got a blunderbuss?
He blinks.
For that point.
Yes, we do. We have several, actually. That said, he squints a little bit. We may be in need of them soon.
Alright, hear me out. 60 gold?
Let me refer to... Why am I going to roll 20? Let me refer to my price sheet, because I'm pretty sure that's pretty way under what they cost. Blunderbuss is 100. Actually, he takes a finger and thumbs his chin a little bit and goes, "Sure, I'll go fetch you one."
Nice.
And he holds his hand out for the payment.
And Calliope hands it to him.
Alright.
Calliope now has 9 gold.
Not to be a stickler for the
Wait.
rules, but isn't that a fucking persuasion roll?
No. Like I said, you guys are allies. He could have persuaded
Allies.
Beneath, but he didn't.
That's fair.
That said, Fergus, you had 69 gold,
Yes.
and you spent some?
Nice.
Too late.
Alright,
No,
so,
I can get 60 gold back whenever I need. Don't worry.
he grabs you a blunderbuss. Takes him a couple minutes. You have a blunderbuss now.
Thanks. And then he walks over to Albus and is like, "Hey, I got the thing you needed."
I think Yaroth's either where he is noisy, or his microphone's having issues.
Oh, okay.
Noisy.
The actual schematics that you needed for like the long gun was a flintlock and a blunderbuss, right? Or was it 2 flintlocks and a blunderbuss?
He had done some scrap metal harvesting that he ended up using for his arms. To finish this gun, a blunderbuss is going to significantly shorten the list of supplies you need, but you're still going to need some other scrap metal just for the little tidbits you need to invent to combine them, basically.
So Calliope just also gave him the 2 flintlock pistols. One he got from Amalia, and the other he found in the garbage.
The dumpster came. So Calliope just comes over to you, Albus, and dumps a bunch of guns.
Yeah. Like, hey, I think you, yeah. These are guns. You've seen them.
I have.
So, hear me out. There's a gun, right? But then it gets really long. Funniest shit I've ever seen. Now, I was thinking, yeah, we've talked about this a little bit, but like, what if like you gave it a scope? Like one of those little binocular things that pirates sometimes have.
Albus, you know exactly what he's talking about. Spy glasses are infamously expensive.
Yeah. And I don't have much of glassware equipment here.
I don't know how they're made, so like I was just wondering. All right, that's cool. Well, I got you all the stuff you needed for making the long gun. Thank you, by the way. I'll pay you back definitely.
I'm gonna pay him 9 gold.
Yeah, here, check this out. Calliope like leans over and like takes a the old like quarter behind your ear trick. He does that, but then he realizes that Albus has ears on top of his head and panics and drops 9 gold on the ground. It's like I guess that's yours.
Probably.
You know, if Ra is the highest charisma, low charisma character I've ever seen, Calliope is the lowest charisma, high charisma character I've ever seen.
You don't know what you're talking about. I've never failed
In
a quiz.
fairness, there's a difference between charisma and intellect.
So you get 9 gold, Albus. I'll add it to your
Albus
sheet.
Albus gets
Thank you.
9 gold. No problem. It's a tip. And then I'll pay you back whenever I get money, ever.
I'll add 2 flintlocks and a blunderbuss.
Hey, Albus.
Yes.
You know how to read, right?
I know how to read, write, and I am speaking right now, right?
Yeah, but you don't need to flex about it. I was just curious what this said. And then, like, Calliope turned, and, what's the most commonly used language, currently in Narzareth?
There's one language in Narzareth.
And that is?
Language. Common. Etc.
Okay, common. Alright, and then, like, in common, there's, like, are there any adhesives in Narzareth?
Like glues?
Yeah, or glues or stickers or, like, tape. Is tape a thing?
Yeah, there's
What
should
are you
be-
what are you doing, Fergus?
Kick me,
He
sign.
wants to do that rising thing again.
Nobody
Tape.
put a kick me sign on your back.
Damn. Why would you have to ruin this?
Instead
okay.
the sign says, "Pull one of my horns and I toot."
What does that say? Can you tell me what that says? I've been looking at it for like a while through like a mirror. I can't read, and I definitely can't read backwards. So like, it's fucking hilarious, Eric.
Eric will say.
Yep. That's what the sign says. Albus, you kind of just want to pull the sign off, but that's your prerogative.
You could also pull one of his horns.
Albus does that.
Which one?
It doesn't matter.
No, I guess it doesn't. Why are you pulling my horns? There's just like,
There's no tooting.
there is no tuning. It was a lie. It was a fallacy. Whoever posted that was a fibber.
A dirty prankster.
A little demon.
Who actually put that on his back?
What was that?
Who put that on his back?
Roll insight.
Roll for me.
Right.
Roll insight. Sure, please do. Fuck, right.
Probably Frederick. Or Amalia. You could see either of them.
I like the idea that that was Frederick's parting gift.
Yeah,
Oh
he-
yeah, you got your discount, so you got that face.
Huh. Well, whenever I find Frederick, I'll probably bully him. Anyways, thanks for the long gun. I'll be seeing you. We're going in the same direction, so.
Okay.
And then Calliope just kind of walks off.
Alright, so everyone meeting up at Enserafid. Anything else anyone wants to do? Any research into local flora,
Is
fauna?
it safe to dump my stuff off in this district?
Yeah, you can
will I
dump your
not be
stuff
able to-
off. You can dump your stuff off at the estate. Like I said, they're kind of housing you because you're friends of Kavi. Kavi is to
Well,
you guys what Roderick was to her. And you guys haven't met
That's
Roderick.
fair.
He was in her prologue.
You should.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I shouldn't have to give you this advice, but you should probably store your organs somewhere.
So Virgil, I'm gonna say your candy maker also creates like it essentially vacuum chills containers so that you can keep an organ in there indefinitely.
I mean, you might be surprised, but you might very well be surprised. Very well be surprised, but he pats his candy maker. This seals they'll be in perfect condition for as long as I need them. But I probably should see if we can't get money for that ship now.
So you'll.
What if anyone around
So,
here is willing to take them?
so if I'm understanding it correctly, your candy making thing, where you store your organs.
It's not where I store my organs, but it helps me store my organs.
No, I finally get it. The fact that you store the two things in the same place, this explains so much.
In
Virgil
fact,
shrugs.
sorry for interrupting, but after Virgil makes mention of a ship again, Amalia, your eyes just sort of linger on the horizon as the first few rays of sun actually peek out past the clouds. It's been a pretty dark morning so far, but now that you can see the sky a little more clearly, there's a trail of smoke really high up, like the trail of an aircraft. It's pretty it's not really fresh as far as you can tell. Like it's definitely dispersed quite a bit, but best you reckon roll an intelligence check. Yeah, seems like whatever made that trail made it probably 6 or 7 hours ago.
You got some kind of flying machine down here?
Virgil, you immediately recollect some of the Emolite craft that is at the hands of some of the most senior engineers in Canaan, but not around here.
Well, not really around here, no. I mean, there's some senior members in Canaan, but not here. Not here.
Wait, you guys haven't developed airships yet?
So Virgil, how learned would you say you are in general about the culture of Nartzareth?
It really depends on how much time he spent in the Eshavai district. Like, I'd imagine that was most of where he spent.
Yeah,
Little bit of bribery to get into the other areas. But
there's almost no real capacity for any long-term learning down there if it's not in the occult or the blasphemous. So the extent of your knowledge
definitely bribery
on aircraft in Nartzareth would be So it would make sense that construction of aircraft would be stifled just due to the incredibly competitive nature between the families and them hoarding their own secrets against one another. So the technology might be there, but the means of production isn't really. If any family would be capable of it, it would probably be the Rasal family in the Bastio district, given the Bastio district is responsible for the Nartzarethian lift system, and it's floating in the air.
Well, the people responsible for the lift system, theoretically, they could. I mean, lifts float in the air, so theoretically, just theoretically, mind, it could be the people from the Bastio district.
Well,
Theoretically.
we'll probably find out later on. What the hell is everyone else doing? Are they ready yet?
Well, guys, are you ready yet?
Yep.
I'll be back with my, leaving these in my temporary room.
Kavi meets up with you guys, as does everybody else, I assume. Hi, Evie. Alright, so fast forward, you guys approach in Seraphid. He definitely doesn't look like a morning person, as he rubs both of his eyes and glances down at the lot of you. It certainly took you long enough. Will we be on our way, or are there other matters we have to attend to throughout the city?
Now let's go.
Virgil briefly wonders if maybe he should have kept them with him so he could sell them on the black market. And then he thinks about this hoity-toity type and is like, yeah, no, I left them where I needed to.
Wonderful. And he begins to lead you through the roads of the Cherus district. And you guys notice a few things that are a little different. Calliope.
No.
You see a few people just around that are wearing the same garb that was in the cathedral last night.
Okay, no, he's still wearing that.
No, you are, sure. And they don't really care about the lot of you, but maybe you pass by an alleyway and there's a couple people wearing the white outfits that are talking to one another, oblivious of
Yikes.
you. And in front of another house, there's one in the clothing that you're wearing that Frederick also typically wears. They're just kind of around, and you're not sure if you're just picking up on it after having seen their outfits before, or if
That
they were
there's more
always
of them
there.
now? Yeah.
Yeah, but
Alright.
they definitely stick out in your head.
So is this like Yarnum post-blood or pre-blood infection?
I don't know what that means.
Well, you know how Yarnum...
No, I do know what that means, but I'm not answering any questions.
Oh, okay. So like... Kind of like... Calliope's just looking around at all the church hunters and like getting a little uncomfortable. He's very visually uncomfortable, but not like saying anything about it. They're walking.
You probably noticed that he's pretty uncomfortable, Amalia. Just given your passive perception and intelligence.
Is there a problem you want to bring up?
Yeah, actually. Yes, I do. It's quite a big problem, surprisingly. Do you want to maybe talk about it when we're not, just like out in the open? Ha ha ha.
And almost as if on cue, you guys pass by one of the black-garbed gentlemen, and this one has two basically shuttles that are just crossed over his back. He's bending over and picking
Shot 'em?
something up off of the ground. Yeah, they're really wicked-looking swords that
Oh yeah.
sort of go up and then form a C, like a scimitar, but curving in the opposite direction, designed
Ah.
to rend flesh. They definitely
Yeah.
look like they've been used before, too. Their backsides have serrated edges, and it looks like one of them has a little bit of an ignition mechanism in the pommel.
Everyone's got materia nowadays. And on it was that it? Was
Yeah,
that
you
just
just
the cue?
you just pass
saw?
by someone that Calliope's probably looking daggers at.
Yeah. So when they get a little bit further, are they just everywhere, or is there a patch without most of them?
I'm gonna say it's about 1 out of every 50 people you see looks to be one of these individuals.
So as soon as we get into that kind of like lesser margin, Calliope kind of leans in and whispers to Amalia and is like, "Those are I'm wearing the outfit that everyone in the church was wearing, and they were wearing white, like those people over there." And he kind of like points behind him, and like the guy in front of us who has the weird dog look. And then like he's like pointing around, and it's like Amalia probably starts to notice the correlation of outfits too.
Yeah, sure.
It's like
Well,
it's
that raises a fantastic question, which is why don't they care that you're wandering around in their outfit?
probably because they don't know who I am, and also I look kind of cool in it.
You ain't doing much to hide your horns.
Yeah, actually, he has a pretty big hat on.
Yeah, that's the Heidi bit. It's like Frederick's hat, except probably taller brimmed, so it kind of looks like Doug Dimmadome.
Doug Dimmadome, what are them fellas Dimmadome?
Yeah, and you can see, like, from the inside, there's 2 little bumps where his horns are clearly, like, spreading it just a little bit. But it can almost pass as, like, the broad part got punched and now it's just creased forward.
Well, if they're not doing anything to us right now, I suggest we just maybe don't pick a fight with them. Your eyes open.
Am I describing things again? Are you guys all good?
Yeah.
Great. So you reach the gate of the Cherries district that you had initially entered in the very first day you got here. And out in front of you is the large valley. It's the sort of strangely serene grasslands and hills and forests. And far above you can see the massive rails of the Tzerethian lift system coming out from the depths of the district that you're in and spreading over the wildlands. One of them going down to the Cirque district, cresting up over the hill that you came over, and then going further north towards the Twin Bridges district and various places over there.
Mia is looking into the meadows with a sort of glazed look in her eyes. They have wild vampire roses down there.
I'm glad you're coming up with Flora so that I don't have to.
And why do they call them vampire roses?
Oh, because they can suck blood through their thorns, so it's best not to accidentally get scratched by them. I've never heard of them fully draining an adult, but it always pays to be careful. Actually, it's fascinating. They start out white, but once they've had a meal of blood, they turn red.
How does that happen?
I'm a little disturbed that you had to specify adult, but
Well, you get disturbed over the strangest things, so.
Well, like, how does it turn red because it has blood?
Hey everyone, this is Dieworm and today.
Magic, probably.
I see.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Top 7 biggest issues with last epoch. State of the game.
Wow.
Patch 0.7.6c.
All right. So, in Seraphic, crouches down as you guys get about 10-20 feet out, and he places his hand on the ground, takes a deep, sharp inhale through his nose, and then stands up and turns around to look at you. Any trackers among you, or am I going to be leading this?
I'm better at looking at things up close than from afar. I'd say you have to lead.
I can track in towns, not so much wilderness.
Better on the ship than I am on land.
Sorry, what was that, Amalia?
Better on the ship than I am on land.
And Seraphic just kind of blinks. Alright. No problem.
You ever been in a boat before? Kind of like points to Seraphic.
I've been in a few. That said, he looks around. I don't think that will help us on our current venture.
I
Amalia,
don't know, it might.
the large streak of black in the sky denoting the path of whatever ship was up there that made that, it looks like it descends down into the valley over a couple ridges.
Yeah, have you been keeping track of the trail of smoke in the sky?
The trail of what?
Trail of smoke up in the sky. Seems to be the exhaust from a flying machine of some sort.
He looks
Looks
up.
like down into the valley.
Oh dear, I thought that was just a cloud. That does seem a prudent place to start, actually. Your passive perception, when he looks up and seems to recognize what it is, his demeanor changes a little bit. His stance shifts just slightly, and you swear you see a bead of sweat down the side of his face.
I wouldn't happen to know anyone around these parts that'd be flying around like that?
He squints a little bit and he says, no. Like I said, I've only been here about a month, and a week of that has been in this district. He just kind of has a little bit of an awkward stare off with you.
Alright. No harm in rolling insight, I guess.
He could be hiding something, or, like he said, he's not a morning person. Could just be nerves.
Man, what's the deal?
Excuse me?
Just in general.
Oh, yeah.
Kinda sucks, huh?
Many things, in your words, suck about this place.
What do you mean in my words? What do you say?
I would say that I have a lot of work that needs doing here.
He probably has all sorts of fancy paladin words like sucketh.
Ha! Probably.
Perhaps you would like to lead, Kavi?
Oh no, you go ahead, you're doing fine.
Yeah, you don't sucketh at all.
He sighs. He turns around and he begins walking off the path through the grasslands and quickly into the woods. What pace are you guys going at?
What?
Fairly brisk, I would say.
All right. So as you start to move at a brisk pace, and Seraphid kind of gestures to you and says, "Slow down. There's likely a lot around here that we don't really want to contend with on our way, considering we don't know what we'll be finding."
Hey, if we're looking for like a lift, right? I could like probably, find my way up a tree and just look, right?
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, okay, I'll go do that.
Well, let's find a tree that's high enough to be suitable for that sort of thing.
Well, how
Probab-
many trees are there in the area? Like,
the problem is that this is a valley. There's a lot of hilltops, and so as opposed to the tallest tree, you want to find a suitably tall tree at the top of one of the hills.
okay. So Calliope, does that really require insight if I just like find a tree?
No, yeah, you get to the top of the hill and you start climbing. However, these trees don't have a great many branches for actually hoisting yourself up.
Yeah, so that's why Calliope would be kind of, how people like use those like ropes that like tie around a tree and then they kind of like hop up it.
Yeah, so I would,
Calliope would be doing that with like all 7 of his tails.
okay, sure.
So would that be acrobatics, or like?
No, you can just climb the tree. It's fine.
Oh, okay, cool.
This isn't interesting if you fail it.
Yeah, it isn't.
So you get to the top of the tree and you survey. Roll perception with advantage.
Perception. Perception.
Nice.
21.
Good ass advantage. So
Good advantage.
you see over the crest of not this hill, but the next one further down to the east. It does look like a massive top, like a spinny top.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a massive top with, and you feel this as you look upon it, incredibly potent, latent energy that is very similar to Emolite power, reverberating off of it in waves every 3 or 4 seconds. However, it is non-visual. It's non-auditory.
All
It's
right.
something you feel in your soul, kind of.
What's this thing's intent?
Well, it looks like a top.
Okay, but I have a thing that just lets me know what it's made of. Like what's its deal? What is it made of? Or
You're looking at a
what
lift.
is it for? My bad. Okay, it's the lift. All right.
And next to it, there is a massive crashed ship. It looks
Alright.
like it has several fittings for what would be fixtures for gas to elevate it.
All right.
It has a good deal of rudders, but it's not really constructed in the same way an oceanic ship would be. Nor is it constructed even remotely in the same way that Emolite airships would be. Emolite airships are very mechanical and function basically off of repelling natural gravity. This one looks like it utilizes heat rising, like a blimp.
Okay. So Calliope kind of like waves to the rest of the group, and it's like, "All right, I found it.
It.
The lift. It's right. It's over there. Like, I want to say a few miles. Like,
Oh no,
like right
it's probably a good 3-4 hours, with the terrain
Cli-
especially.
Calliope doesn't know like the Imperial system.
All right, it's a few miles.
Whatever the Narzarethian system of it is. It's probably a little bit longer, but like I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, there's a ship, and there's the lift. I think. Yeah, no, that was probably the lift. Calliope's talking while he's climbing down.
So Amalia, as Calliope mentions the lift, you see in Seraphid's jaw harden.
That thing about the lift you want to share with the rest of the class?
The ship, not the lift.
The... What about the ship? What did you see about the ship?
It was crashed. It looks like it kind of hit the lift or crashed next to it or something. And this is kind of just like that dumb sixth sense thing that people say when they're trying to sound cool, but also like the lift is still powerful. Like I could feel it. Like it's full of stuff.
Probably.
So maybe don't get like electrocuted or killed by it or something.
If that ship was still flying, if I'm a judge of the trails, that ship was still flying a few hours ago.
All right, so then it probably crashed a few hours ago. That doesn't really change the fact that we should start walking to the lift.
It means we should hurry if there's any survivors.
All right. Then they go fast.
As you guys start to move briskly again, Inserafid holds up a hand and he says, I implore you to reconsider. I think we should keep going at our current pace.
Okay, but like why?
This is not the first time. Well, it is the first time I've encountered a ship per se, but somebody that I contended with rather violently in the Sylvan district said that they were part of a crew.
All right.
Yes, ships generally have crews.
Yes,
As far as I know.
that's as far. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going then.
So you picked a fight with someone in one of the art districts who happened to be part of an airship crew?
He kind of clams up. It's a long story.
How does this involve us not going fast?
They're very strong, and they're very likely watching anybody that's approaching.
Okay, then I'll just wait. If I trigger the lift when we get close enough, I could probably like make it do something.
I don't think triggering the lift works without the rails.
Want to find out?
I think that we are looking for an Aurium so that we can get the lifts back online.
All right. So what if
Well,
they're
maybe
looking
there's
for an
Arium
Arium?
in the crew.
Yeah.
If they're looking for an Arium, they're not gonna do much if their ship has crashed.
Psh.
This guy definitely seems he has some extreme reservations about this, seeing recent developments.
All right. We
That-
could go slow. However, wouldn't that just mean that they could have more time to see us? I don't exactly see this being like if we're going there anyways, and they're still alive and they're looking all over the place, and they see you and they fight you. That doesn't really change. It just makes it so it happens a couple of hours later or earlier, depending on how fast we go.
He shakes his head. That's not how that works at all. If somebody sneaks up on you for a mile, you have substantially less time to react when they actually show up than if they were to run a mile at you.
Okay. Sure. But we've got like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours of walking to do. Why don't we just like run, I don't know, a quarter of it, 2 quarters, 3 quarters of it, and then just like slow down when we actually get close?
He nods. Alright, that's a good compromise.
Also, I don't exactly see you sneaking anywhere, no offense. In Seraphin, it's like in full plate, right?
Half plate, but yeah, it's plate.
Alright.
We'll just have to keep our eyes open.
I was thinking of closing mine and just walking blindly through the forest, Amalia.
Yeah, please do
Well,
that.
that's how you got us into that situation in the first place, just about.
What?
The situation with the fucking Tenebrai.
Is that my fault?
Yes.
Yes, that one was your
We-
fault.
Jibby, what do these plants you're looking for look like?
They've got 6 petals, and they're pink with red on the edges. They're about the size of my thumbnail, and they have the most peculiar blue pollen.
Alright, and you need to do something special to harvest them, or is that just a thing anyway?
They typically grow around cave openings.
I mean, they grow around cave openings, but you know, you never know when you might find one. They're kind of weeds. Are you asking if they bite or anything?
No, I'm asking if you need to do anything special to harvest them.
Oh no. And they don't bite. Not even a little.
I'm starting to think that they bite.
Alright, keep an eye out for them as we're going then.
Well, we should probably move closer to the caves if they, if they're by cave openings. Let's just like move next to the side of the valley rather than like the middle of it.
That would serve stealth better as well.
Hey, that would be pretty good, huh?
Alright, so you guys sort of sidle.
Vamonos.
You sidle through the woods, further to the north side of the valley, as you progress to the east. And soon enough, both the ruins of the lift and of the ship come into sight. Amalia, this isn't a ship you've ever really seen before. As you start to see more and more of the actual pieces of it attached to the outer hull, the general structure of the body, it makes more and more sense. But like I said, it's not something you've ever seen before in any research you may have done. It's also an airship, which you're probably not as versed in. But either way, judging from the damage, it looks like one of the both of the mounts, both of the fixtures that the large balloons that would have been inflated by gas, both of those ruptured, and it looks like there was some engine errors as well, and that's what caused the trail of thick black smoke in the sky. However, as it landed, it didn't cause really much of a wreckage, especially in comparison to the lift. The lift is sort of in a veritable crater. It's blasted out the wilderness right around it. There's some latent electricity that you can see occasionally arcing in the far-off distance between the lift and portions of the ground, rocks, that sort of thing. Despite really being attached to the ground, it doesn't look like it's really finished discharging, even though this thing would have fallen several days ago.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
not for nothing, but that looks fucked up.
Is there anyone around?
Roll perception.
Perception. Perception. 13. Ahahaha. Is there like at least is there a fire?
You can't see anyone. No fire. No real
17.
sign of life.
17
Alright.
passive doesn't get anything.
17 passive got you the details about the ships.
Alright, so Calliope, like, although being cautious, starts to advance on it, like, to get in.
Yeah.
17 perception.
However, Amalia, 17 perception also notices in Seraphid starting to approach as well.
Calliope and Seraph are going in hot.
Not quite as hesitant as you were before.
Excuse me?
You seem really reluctant to get closer to it before, but
Are you always this confrontational? We have a job to do.
yeah, it suits my needs.
Yeah, she is.
Be on the lookout for any abnormal shadows.
Just like in general, or like
Yes.
people-shaped shadows, or like are they regular biped shape?
He looks at Calliope with a grave expression, then he glances at Kavi and says, "It is a profession that I think she is slightly versed in."
Are they plants?
He shakes his head. That is where they diverge.
All right.
Are they
fungus?
alchemists?
He's talking about shadow witches.
Oh. Wow. That's something different.
Yeah, they're kind of like me, but not as cool.
Oh. Huh. All right. Can I like scavenge for like weird tech? Since I can like see the intent behind machinery, I assume I can just like scan a pile of garbage.
There's
and
not
find, like...
really going to be any garbage until you get significantly closer.
Oh, my bad. I thought I was like getting up against it. My bad.
No, it's still a good. It's right down into the valley. Like you can see it from where you guys are. You have the high ground, especially given that you're up along the caves. By the way, Catherine, while you guys are progressing towards this place, you find 5 vampire lilies.
Nice. Roses.
Whatever. You made them up. I. What's the word? Not secede. I relinquish all responsibility for the names
Okay.
of your
Well,
flora.
I'm gonna put on my thickest gloves and use my tools to pick 2 of them.
Why don't you just summon Danger Plant and have it harvest them with its vines?
Okay, sure. Danger plant.
Is that its actual like name?
Yes.
Now.
Danger,
Yes.
Danger Plant is very sufficiently camouflaged in this environment.
Hey, should I send the plant scouting when we get close enough?
Oh, I was just gonna walk up to it.
Thought you said you couldn't get any feedback from it?
Well, I can see whether it's upset and stuff.
Alright, as you get closer, you become more and more assured, Calliope, that this lift is not Emolite.
Oh. Cool.
However, you guys all become aware of a few individuals. It looks like both of them are dead. One of them is sprawled out next to the lift. It looks like they were in a really bad way before they passed.
How long dead do they look?
Probably died upon impact. They're wearing some brownish clothes with a feathered cap that is probably 6 or 7 feet away from their actual head.
Oh no, Harris is dead.
It's not patchwork. And the other one looks to be nestled up under, not really under a tree, but up against a rock that's next to a trunk that's bare of leaves because the branches all got blasted away by the lift's impact, and also looks dead, but it's sort of sitting upright as if it was nursing its wounds before passing.
Yikes! It's carrying an item from Dark Souls.
That one's a Noctian.
Ah.
So it has dark, sort of monochromatic pigmentation.
So, Calliope holds his breath, and knowing that like these people aren't they're just bodies, uses Mage Hand to like check their pockets.
So as you move your mage hand over, and you're looking more intently, you have to get within, I believe, 60 feet?
Yep.
30 feet.
30 feet.
Well,
So you're hiding in some
60 feet.
underbrush, and as you look out, which body?
I'm assuming the sprawled out one is closer to the tree line.
Yep.
Also, are you seriously, like, while there's potentially people around who probably like these guys, first thing you're gonna do is loot the bodies?
He's doing it.
He'll just talk to them if they're around.
Even Virgil's
Yes.
waiting for Seraphit to turn around. Shit.
Yes.
And
I mean, also, it's not like a Mage Hand is visible.
It is.
What?
They
I
kind
thought
of
ma-
are.
I
It's
thought Mage
very
Hands were like
fucking visible.
I thought they were just invisible hands.
A
No, that's
spectral
Adam Smith.
floating hand appears at a point you choose within range.
Oh.
You
Maybe
can roll
if I
sleight of
rolled it.
hand to sort of move it inconspicuously.
Sure, why not?
Get it? Sleight of hand? Go ahead.
Eh?
Well, it's also that Calliope is now like gravely aware that he has no money at all.
I'm
Sleight of
glad
hand?
these. I am privileged to have this insight into how Calliope's mind functions at this particular moment.
21?
Bold of you to assume there's any
All
insight.
right. So you get within 30 feet, and you notice that there's a little more. This guy's sprawling, and you can only barely see it because of the way its head is resting on the ground. It also has a very large hole going through its skull.
Yikes.
Alright,
That
that's
said,
not-
71 gold.
Whoa!
It's all in a bag, and it also has a materia that you're not sure what it does.
Animateria?
Uh-huh.
Thank you
Alright,
for
cool.
sharing that so cheerily, Eric.
Calliope is covering his eyes as he's doing it. You could probably, if anyone was close enough, he'd be apologizing to the spirit. Before
So you're counting the gold in the pouch after you bring it to you?
oh no, he's not counting.
Okay, so you just grabbed the pouch.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
Huh? Oh, you didn't see that.
That. Alright. I'm gonna give you another chance to say something. I'm gonna pretend that what you just said didn't happen.
All right,
Go.
cool. I was examining a body. It's not wrong. Sleight of hand. He was examining the body. If you look over there, and he points to the body, there's a, and he kind of wrinkles his nose. There's a hole in the skull.
So Amalia, you look over to the body where he's gesturing, and you see someone else in the distance, standing up, facing you, forming some sigils in the air. And next to them, there is an individual humanoid that looks to be made out of black, strange, living shadow anointed with different gemstones that is currently channeling something.
Ah, shit. There's your friend.
What do you mean, my friend?
It's Seraphi's friend.
Is he even here? Is he even here?
He's not.
So, Amalia, come here. Wait, I have a plan. Hear me out. So, you've got, magic, right?
Yeah.
Alright. So, if I go invisible, and I walk over there, I see what they're doing, and then I walk back and tell you about it, you could probably cast a spell that would stop whatever they're doing, right?
One. Very unlikely. Two. I would not bank on invisibility protecting you.
What? Why? You go invisible, they literally can't see you.
You hear some
They can hear you and
hear-
feel where you are.
you hear
Really?
some noises,
Oh shit.
almost like rummaging around. It looks like it's coming from behind the lift where you guys are at, and another individual sort of steps out from there. This one is a gold arium.
Ooh,
What is that?
It
one of the
is
people we're looking for.
so arium. I'm gonna refer to the home brewery document just so I can give you the best description possible. Races. Wow, I don't really have, Alright, biology. It's a medium individual. This one in particular is about 6.5 feet tall, and it looks like he's mostly constructed of biological material. However, apart from that, there are plates of this sort of tarnished gold color, particularly around the right side of its torso and back, and completely encompassing its shoulder and right arm. It's covering a good portion of the right side of its skull, and its left eye looks like it's mechanical.
Okay.
It has a turret coming out of its back.
Does it look active?
The turret doesn't look active, but the Arium just stepped out from under the lift, and it's holding some things.
All right. Calliope stands up from out of the bushes and just kind of like walks out into the non-brush.
All right. Are you doing anything else?
Whistling's a free action, right?
Well, there's no combat economy yet. You can do whatever you want, and it's a free action.
Cool. So like, just to like kind of obfuscate the body.
Calliope wants to die.
No, I have full confidence. Calliope kind of like wandered out from the bush and just kind of like eyed the body again, shivered, kind of like was treating the situation like he was a tourist looking at an exhibit as he like looks over the lift. It was like, wow, they had one of those.
So the person that was across the way, she is a human. She's sort of covered in these tealish tattoos that portions of them are glowing, portions of them look inactive. As you start to approach, the sigils that she was concentrating on all of a sudden stagnate and stop shifting like they were, and she immediately looks pretty aggressive. She yells, "You! Who are you?" And the other person, the Arium that was approaching her with some stuff, she's like, "Oh, shut up. Let me finish this before you go off killing invaders." And it looks like she looks pretty startled, but the Arium kind of disengages her from interacting with you. And she kind of huffs about it, but she starts listening to him.
Alright. Calliope just kind of like waves.
Parlay?
At this, the Arium looks over their shoulder, and brow is furrowed. You see him mouth, "Great, there's more than one." And then he turns back to the human, the tattooed woman, and just drops a bunch of shit to the ground. Looks like pieces that were extricated off the lift. The two of them look at one another, and then they look back at you, and he sort of gives the ladies first gesture, and the human approaches you, Calliope.
Hi.
So as she gets closer and closer, her shadow gets larger and larger before uprooting itself out of the ground and sort of moving around to cut you off from everyone else.
Cool.
Its arms are these massive sort of fiery sickle shapes, and its head looks like a head made of crystalline, almost diamond, and it's held up by the rest of the shadow.
Calliope kind of like raises his arms up and he's like, I'm unarmed. Don't worry. You can pat me down if you want to. I'm not gonna like. I'm just here to say like see what's going on.
The woman opens her coat and says, "I'm unarmed as well. However,
cool.
I clearly still have the capability to kill you. Your assurances do me no goodwill. What are you doing here?"
Okay, so well, I'm from Nazareth, Cherez district, more specifically. You've probably seen it before. It's quite big.
Your faulty pronunciation is not doing you any favors here. Why don't you stop lying?
I'm currently from Nazareth because Canaan is like, God knows how far away. Anyways, I was just wondering what happened to the lift.
So Amalia's just cut off from all of this by the shadow?
You can hear what's going on, but yeah, there's a about a 10-foot tall, big shadow beast monster separating you guys.
Calliope kind of like took his hat off and like brushed it against his leg. Horns,
big guy.
horns are kind of displayed, but he's not like paying much attention to it.
She sees your horns and kind of cocks her head a little bit and then looks over her shoulder. Hey, and the Arium sighs and approaches.
Hello, you too.
They whisper to each other. Roll perception to see if you can hear.
Cool. I can't... 5.
Yeah, no, you can't really pick up on any of it.
Cool.
It almost sounds like they're speaking a different language.
Comprehend language. It's just whispers.
She looks like she's about to start talking, but the Arium cuts her off and says, "You're not from the lift, and you're not part of our crew, so why don't you explain yourselves?"
Oh, well, I mean, we were just curious as to what happened. We heard what was going on in, like, what is it called? Not the Cherries District. The one that's, like, the one that this lift was from.
This one was from the Cherries District. It was traveling.
Oh, I
through
was
the city.
right. Okay, then yeah, we were just curious as to what was going on.
Well, best as we can figure, whatever disrupted the systems knocked it off trajectory, and here it is.
Huh. And you're an Arium, right? You, like, control these, I think. I'm barely...
He takes a step forward
and
and he extends a hand. That's right. Name's Guido.
Ah, Calliope. Nice to meet you. He shakes it.
His hand's really cold, and it feels like you're shaking a piece of metal.
Your hand's cold, dude.
That's gold.
Oh, yeah. You're actually gold, aren't you? That's wild.
Hey, so can I get in on this conversation? Your shadow isn't much for talking.
The human woman says, "No, I think we quite like these odds, especially what with the rest of your friends hiding with you."
Yeah, there's like, what, how many? Like a shit ton of them. Anyways, but we're not like here to have a... We're not here to have like a big old altercation or like a skirmish or whatever. We probably wouldn't even be able to like do anything to you guys. We're just kind of like...
Exploring.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Coming to look at the sights while you're in town.
That and just kind of, you know...
Oh, a massive mode of transportation was flung out into the wilderness. Better go see what it's about. Better go and hopefully die from all the big bad wildlife and other folk that it's very likely attracted.
What
Like
kind
us.
of wildlife want... Okay, but hear me out. I mean, you guys could, like, be murderers, violent pedophiles. I don't really care. I was just curious about the wildlife. What's out here?
The Arium puts his arm out and a panel opens in his forearm and he looks like he messes around with it a bit, and then all of the sudden a massive winged beast that is smoking from several large holes in its carapace becomes visible, not right next to the crashed airship, but a good distance away.
Is it weird that I didn't see any? Like, I barely saw any wildlife.
It's camouflaged.
Okay.
It's camouflaged for a reason. We cloaked it right after we killed it.
Huh.
Either way, this, and he points to the lift, is a massive repository of energetic potential energy.
Yeah, I could feel it.
And so things that consume energy. He gives the sort of "can you figure it out" gesture.
Yeah, no. I'm starting to pick up what you're putting down. Don't you guys like, and I mean you guys very loosely because I don't understand really anything about Ariums at all because I'm, as you've kind of figured out, quite new here. Don't you guys like do stuff with the lifts?
I'm not going to be powering your stupid fucking lift.
Okay, I wasn't asking. I was just curious if that's what
There
like
goes
you can
Matt.
do.
So leave.
Any reason why not? Hmm?
Is Virgil there?
No, Calliope's kind of alone. There's a big shadow demon that's sort of shunting you guys off into the brush unless you want to try and move through it.
All right. Well, Calliope's like, well, why not? Is it annoying to work there, or is it like, what's going on?
I'm already employed.
Is that a new development? Did you ever like power the lift before?
No.
Do you know who did before this happened?
From my knowledge, they're dead. Whatever
Oh, that
surge
sucks.
flung this off the railing. Well, Sylvia, will we get back to the investigation then?
Can I still look around, or are you guys like threatening me to leave?
Oh no, I'm not threatening you with anything. I doubt you could even really budge us.
Honestly, me too. So like, I can look around still, right?
Just be careful. And don't
Yeah,
get
of
in
course.
the way.
You got it.
The big shadow creature moves to the side.
All right. Calliope goes to look for the Arium's dead body.
Alright. The rest of you. Come on out.
That would be us.
That's
Bow
a
slightly.
that's a really unique kind of magic you got going on here.
What are you referring to? There's a lot of unique magic here.
I don't know, the 15-foot tall shadow man, 15-foot living shadow you got here.
That's not actually mine. I'm just watching over it for a second. This is the woman talking.
Oh, you can.
Babysit the shadows.
Is he sentient, or are you just
Well, I talk to him like he is, but I don't really know. Are you sentient? The big creature doesn't really respond. She looks back at you, shrugs.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. That's really interesting.
You look like you're from the coast. Much, much further down south.
A lot further down south.
I actually come from Osiris. It's good to make your acquaintance. And she takes a step forward and extends a hand.
Oh, that's pretty. Would I know where that
Yeah.
side is?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
pretty large trading hub.
Oh, nice to meet. Nice to meet someone that also has been by the sea.
Well, I haven't seen any other airships around. How did you get all the way up here?
We walked. Unless you're talking about how we got here in the first place.
Well, your friend, the horned fellow, he mentioned that you were just looking for an Arium and to sightsee around the lift. Is he really your best spokesperson?
No. We're trying to store the lift so we can get to the other districts. Sounds like they've all been cut off from each other by whatever caused this. What happened to your airship, by the way? Or is that even your airship?
Yes, it is ours. And that happened to it. And she points to the giant carapaced winged monster. We did win, but our engines were horribly damaged, and it took our inflation balloons with it. We tried our best to get as close to this lift as we could to see if we could salvage any parts for repairs.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, if your ship's not gonna move, I don't know how we would get that back. She looks over at the left.
The lift is also... Actually, I guess it's not as big as the airship. You're right. You say you're looking for transportation, primarily from this lift system, right?
Yeah, we're looking to
Well, there are a few things that would significantly ease our pain with these repairs that I don't think we're going to be finding in this wreckage. And, well, I'm not going to pretend to not know where we are. I think some of them may be a little more available in the town. Not Cherus, but Twin Bridges at the very least.
Alright. And I heard you're not gonna be powering the lift. Is that what the arm do with the lifts? They power them?
I don't know anything about that. You'd have to talk to him.
What's his name?
Guido.
Hey Guido, can I ask something?
No, go away. He's bending over, starting to rummage through the stuff that he dropped.
Hey, I don't expect you to talk to me for free.
He stands up. He flexes his shoulders back and stretches his neck a bit. Then he turns around and approaches. While he's doing this, the human woman kind of chuckles a little bit. Wow, he picked up on his language quite quickly. What do you want?
I was just wondering if you could tell me a little more about how the arm interact with the lifts. You were saying you wouldn't power it? Is that what they do?
The lift system is fundamentally based off of electromancy. Electromancy, the creation of the head of the Rasal family, of which the Arium are all derivative. Electromancy is the reason I breathe.
Well.
That same basis of origin is what allows us to allow the lift system to also breathe. And that is why the Rasal family has a stranglehold on its usage. That the people that originate from the Rasal district, the Bastio district, as some call it, well, it's integral. If anybody were able to use them, we wouldn't really have a monopoly on it, would we?
So, wait a minute. They need you guys to power the lifts, and they gave you sentience so you could stand around powering the lifts all day?
Now you see why I'm not that much of a fan of going back there.
No, I get that. Would it specifically have to be an arm who powers it? Can any kind of lightning make it work?
Lightning is not electromancy. They're very fundamentally different, in fact. Arium, well, we're the only ones that can access the on switch, is basically how it's set up. It doesn't really fatigue us at all, it's just,
Boring?
yes. Excruciatingly.
Yeah.
And feels like slavery.
No, I get that.
Well, sure.
While this is happening, can I, like, now that I'm here, like, scrounge around for like, tech?
Yeah,
Considering that
roll investigation.
Alright, considering that I can, like, see what everything is with my eyeballs magic. That's a 6. That
Oh.
seems dumb. I should be able to. If there's anything intact, I would know what it does.
Too bad it's not a 6 in TSF. So the lift isn't just a big block that travels along rails. The lift is actually where most of the magic comes from, and well, the electromancy rather. And the rails are sort of just the rails are sort of the mundane part. They're just constantly hypercharged.
Okay.
There's a bunch of different pieces of equipment that you come upon. Some of it looks like it definitely has usage, but they're all so broken up from everything else that you couldn't really conceivably come up with what they were originally attached to.
Is there like a pile of garbage? Like not even garbage. There's just a pile of metal anywhere.
Yeah, it's what
Can-
Guido was gathering.
All right. Is he still like right by it?
He just walked about 20 feet over to talk to Amalia.
Calliope just kind of like looks over at it and does the little. And I'm gonna use Emolite Touch to see if anything activates in it.
Is that good or bad?
High is bad.
So you use Emolite Touch and an arc of electricity connects you for the briefest instant. You take 3 lightning damage.
Ow!
Guido just is immediately pulled from conversation with Amalia, looks at the pile of junk and looks at you.
Hey, I found something valuable.
How did you do that?
I can just make things go. Like anything. Like I could make a car start. I could make like, if you were Emolite, I'd be able to, and then make you do whatever you do.
He's a sorcerer of some kind.
I'm a junk mage. I just play with junk all day.
And the woman and Guido both take a look at each other. Let me get back to my proposal. Not to cut you off from what you were talking about, but well, we need something that looks a little bit like this. And she starts moving her sigils around again, and with them sort of draws a holographic projection of what looks like, to you, a propulsion engine.
Oh.
You've seen propulsion engines because you've existed in Canaan, and propulsion engines are used in everything there. They just happen to be powered by Emolite. That said, you're not really sure you have her same confidence that you would be able to find this in the Cheros district or the Twin Bridges or whatever. Like, even not having seen it, it looks like this place has a very different level of technology than Canaan does. That said, Calliope, Guido sort of takes a step over to you and gestures you off to the side.
Hi, what's up? What's up?
I'm going to come bring you to the broken bits of our ship and see what happens when you try to lightning those. How's that sound?
I could try and. Well, I'm not gonna do lightning on them. I could just probably see what goes where if I tried hard enough.
He blinks. Not going to pretend to understand, but
Yeah, no, I'm not. Like, I don't want to put you under the false pretense that I'm smart. I can just put things together.
oh no, I was not under the false pretense that you were smart. Just, lightning.
I can't do what kind of lightning are you talking about?
He points to the.
Oh no,
The-
something in there made the lightning. I just activated it.
Huh.
Yeah, you found something really cool in there, huh?
I didn't think so. Either way, he nods towards the ship
Yeah, okay, yeah.
and he starts taking you over there. Kvi, Albus, Virgil, do you want to do anything? And
There's
not
still
do you
bodies around, right?
not do you want to do
Look
anything?
for those explodey flowers. And apparently we're not getting our aura.
All right, roll survival.
Okay. So where am I?
You find 6
Okay.
Flowerworms.
explodey
Explode.
flowers.
I suppose right now it would be prudent to ask what is Inserafid doing.
You haven't seen him.
That's probably for the best.
He just fucked off? Weird.
You could say that
if
you
you've
had an
been-
altercation.
Yeah, if you've been following the hints here.
I am as observant as a brick.
Yeah, and Seraphim was saying
he's
that he
had-
had...
Yeah, he's had an altercation with Sylvia at some point before, and it did not go well for him.
Noted. Are these two bodies, partial to you two?
Who are you talking to?
Either of.
Guido's walking with Calliope and Amalia's talking with Sylvia. So neither of them are
So
really
they're both
available.
busy then, is
Yes,
what I hear.
they do.
Time to get to work then.
If
my
you
character's a
dare.
horrible person.
If you, I'm presuming with the fact that I am incredibly observant, I see.
Yeah?
Yeah, Virgil's like already got his scalpel out and he
If
leans
you
down.
dare, I swear, before everything is over, I will bury you.
Okay, fine. Shit. Don't get your shit.
What was that about?
He's a terrible person, and he's looking at the bodies.
Ah, nothing.
Who were they, by the way? Friends?
Presumably people that were on the lift. None of ours. We didn't lose anybody. There's a few of us that weren't on the ship at the time, but they're off on their own errands.
Mario looks back at Virgil.
And Virgil's like fucking stuffing the scalpel away, grumbling a little.
I swear I'm gonna put him on a leash at some. Well, they could all go on leashes. So, not to dampen your ropes or anything, but the level of machinery around this place, it's not as high as it is in Canaan. I don't know if there's enough Emolite in the near vicinity to get a thruster going.
Well, the problem isn't Emolite. We could technically make it without some of that, but it was my hopes that we would be able to procure some of the materials through whatever black market Snartzreth is, well, famous for.
Mostly dead body parts, from what I understand.
Interesting.
Culture and dead body parts.
That's not what I was expecting, but... She looks at the lift with a little bit of resignation. And Calliope. You're led basically up to the deck of the ship, except it's vertical because the ship is sideways. It's resting on the side of its hull.
Right.
You kind of gotta like step carefully to get around some of the fixtures that would have been holding the large inflated balloons that keep this
Okay.
thing aloft. And a big hole has been broken into the deck that it looks like they had broken open to come out. And as you're led in, you see a lot of like pipe machinery and hydraulic systems, as opposed to Emolite systems that you're used to. And as you're led through, there are a few different machines that are roughly powered but look like they're in a dormant state. It's pretty clear they're trying to conserve energy until they can figure out how to fix the missing parts. And you're led into a large, really hot room with what essentially looks like a massive boiler. It's surrounded by 6 different pistons that look like they feed into it from really large hydraulics tanks. And then there's a bigger fixture behind it that looks like it's a coolant system.
Cool.
Well, that right there is where the engine would go, but...
Yeah. Did it, like, fall out?
He raises his eyebrows and he sort of takes a look at you. Do you really want to know?
I didn't know this question was so sinister. Yeah, sure.
It's not sinister, just... It was consumed. That was the reason, that thing. And he just jabs a thumb behind his shoulder, just kind of loosely gesturing in the big carapace monster's direction. Was after us.
So it ate your engine, huh?
Well, it was going to eat us until we figured out what it was after, dislodged the engine, and launched it at it. Gave us the opening we needed to kill it, but...
I see. And then the engine's just in pieces now, or like...
Don't know. After I finished going into the lift, because nobody else wants to do any fucking legwork around here, I was probably going to carve a few very, very large holes in its stomach and see if there was anything salvageable. However, given the nature of acid and metal, probably not much to be found.
Well, I mean, how long has it been in there? Like an hour, 2 hours?
3, probably 4 hours.
I mean, considering the metal hull of something and the inner mechanisms inside of it also have metal, I'd imagine unless that acid is like, what? Like, I mean, unless it's like real, like body melting acid, I highly doubt that some of it isn't salvageable still.
Might be more prudent to go after that first then.
Yeah, honestly.
Either way, see if you can work whatever fucking magic you do in here. I think I'm gonna go start on that. And the turret on his back revs, and the big rotating barrel just sort of...
Well, hey, don't like shoot the stomach, or else you might pop the engine. And if it still like has electricity in it, it might like explode.
How else am I going to open it?
I don't know, a knife? Don't like chain gun its entire body open.
You know what? How about we trade jobs?
Sure. Wait, no.
I'll do this mechanical awakening magic that you do, and you take a knife and go out there and try to stick it through the 6-foot thick body armor that thing's made of.
Yeah, that would be kind of hard, wouldn't it? Alright. Assuming you're being sarcastic.
Being sarcastic.
Okay, well, fine. Then I'll stay here and do my thing.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Also, if any of the pets come around, just yell. They'll run away.
Okay. I'm not expecting compensation, but like, can you just like give me more respect in front of Amalia to make her feel bad? That's all.
I'll do that because it sounds funny.
It is really funny. Anyways.
And he leaves. You're now in a big, dark chamber full of sort of humming, dormant machines. And you use Emolite Touch. You
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay.
First, I use I'm still using Backseat Tinkerer to see. I know what everything does, but what isn't working here? Because if I can see the inside of something,
So
Like-
these things are not off because they were turned off. These things are off because there's nothing feeding into them. The engine itself is needed to get things going. It looks like everything around where the engine was is intact, apart for one of the hydraulic systems and about half of the coolant tank. But it looks like the coolant tank has a backup anyways.
could I theoretically do machine CPR with like a mixture of MLA Touch and Shocking Grasp?
You can certainly try, but if you break their shit, they're gonna be mad.
Well, considering that machines and tech and stuff is supposed to be kind of my thing, what's like is this like the heart surgery of my? Is this my doing brain surgery on an old man?
So
Or is this,
brain
like,
surgery
easy
is
to do?
very much a knowledge thing. This, I would say the problem is that Shocking Grasp is going to be like trying to charge your phone with a static electricity zap from the tip of your finger.
So it probably won't do what I want it to.
It's just not as much of an oomph as you need. And even then, if you power it, it's going to be powered for like 10 minutes, and you can't do anything with that.
Okay,
like-
so
like-
the better thing is that I just like keep it fixed.
Yes.
So he just wants me to fix it, right?
He wants to see if you can replace the engine. That said, I'm going to say roll Charisma, since you're a junk mage and Charisma is your casting stat, on alternatives to what they're looking for.
Okay. Oh my god, I'm re-rolling that. No. I don't like that. I don't like 8. I want to be good at something. 18.
You are struck by inspiration. If that big monster wanted to eat their engine, that means that it was going to get some really, really high level of nourishment from it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, power it with the creature.
What if you go and get that creature's heart?
Yes. Hey! I figured it out. You don't even need to get the engine, actually.
No response. Are you like clambering through the wreckage of the ship?
Yeah.
All right. As you're clambering through the wreckage of the ship, something grabs at your ankle
Hey!
and then scurries
I was
off.
told to yell at it.
Yep. And you didn't even see what it was, but you hear it clamber behind some wood.
Anyways. Hey! He's still yelling. He's still getting out there. He's probably out there by now. Calliope throws a rock at him.
Roll attack, dexterity.
No. No. Is there anything I could do that isn't an
It's
actual
an
attack?
improvised weapon. It'll do 1 damage. He won't care.
Okay, he won't. Okay, Dex. 11. Is that...
All right, you throw the rock. It soars in front of him, and one of the rounds coming out of his turret just explodes it into shrapnel. And he's like, "What
Did
the
he see
fuck?"
it though? Hey!
He looks over his shoulder.
I figured it out.
The ship's not in
You
the
know-
air yet.
Yep, but that's because I need, like, the... Okay, so, that thing needs energy, and it gets nourishment from the electricity and power from your thing. That means its heart also functions as an engine of sorts. You could theoretically take its heart out and use it as a new engine that's probably better than the one that you have now.
I like you. I like you a lot. That said, we still need to get through this.
Yes, of course. I just wanted to let you know so you don't, like, shred its heart open with that giant-ass gun.
Nope, I'm going through the stomach.
Oh, okay. I can, like, get it if you don't want to get dirty. I mean, you're gold, so you probably don't really corrode, but, like...
I don't think the other Aurium corrode either. It's some
Really?
magical shit.
Huh.
That said, if you want to help, I'll always take it.
Sure.
Alright, so you stay there. You're going to help Guido get the heart out. It's probably going to take about an hour to 2 hours.
Cool.
Back with Amalia, Virgil, Kavi, Sylvia. Sylvia sits the rest of you down. And sits down herself. So, who first? Your story or our story?
Um, can I check one thing with you first, just out of intellectual curiosity?
Absolutely.
Have you met a paladin while you've been here?
Paladin in what way? Everyone here seems, well, very self-assured of their cause.
Oh, this is a Canadian paladin.
Is it one of the learned fellows?
Yeah, that one.
She looks down. Don't think so. But, well, Guido and I are not the whole crew. So maybe the person you're looking for just hasn't shown back up yet.
He said he had a altercation, and he's not saying as much, but I don't get the impression that it went well for him, and I think he's a bit.
An altercation with me?
No, not necessarily with you if you don't remember him. And she gives like a general description of it, Sir Effort.
Where would this have occurred?
Do I remember where he said it?
He came from the Sylvan district. It's where he has spent the majority of his time here in Nartzreth.
Probably would have been the Sylvan district.
Oh dear. She looks over at the shadow monster. I think I have a good idea of who he was talking about.
Oh, did you try and eat him? She's talking to the shadow monster.
Shadow monster is unresponsive.
I think you tried to eat him.
I'm not sure I like your tone. She looks a little worried. That said, I suppose I'll start off. We are two members of a crew called the Crow's Errand. And this is our ship, the Black Flight. We have usually found our way pillaging through Old Nartzreth, but it seems there's some strange things afoot. We don't have very many leads to go off of, but Guido and I were left in charge of the ship, and most of our crew was dispersed throughout the different districts around here. You know, to do multi-jointed investigative work. It's been probably a couple months now. There's some very strange things occurring with the ley lines. Some very strange things occurring with unconsciousness and particularly potent magic. And regardless of the amount of time we've spent on it, there's been also remarkably little ground we've made.
I can hopefully explain a little bit of that. So in the what's the district we just came from called? The
Cirque.
district?
Cheruz is the Atzenil.
Yeah. So in the Cheros district, some kind of weird cult going on, and they seem to have summoned some form of outsider entity.
She nods. Yes, you're speaking of the Tenebrae, right?
Is that what they're called?
Guido and I were investigating them in the Cirque district before they forced us to flee. We haven't been back down to check what happened.
Well, they're doing some kind of weird ritual that seems to involve a lot of people's fingers. Anyway, they've called up some kind of outsider. it is going around, laying some kind of curse on the entire district. Everyone there is under its influence. Found one of the effigies keeping it here and destroyed it. At least 2 more somewhere.
Interesting. Okay, well, curses aren't really my forte.
And I'm getting good at identifying it, not so good at dealing with it.
You said you're the paladin friend? How's he doing with it?
Have we actually told him the full extent?
No, I don't think so.
Yep. He knows the demon's there. Demon seems to have some kind of weird effect on him. When he was getting closer to it, forgot. His short-term memory seemed to vanish.
Oh, heavens. I've encountered these effects before. This was when Guido and I were investigating the Cirque. There were several days that we seemed to just lose, as if we had skipped them. And I always felt like we had made large discoveries in that time, but something just got in the way.
From a biological perspective, it's a perfect defense. What action are you supposed to take against it if you, by the mere action of going near it, you forget where it was?
I like how this whole conversation is going on while is like in the background.
Yeah. There's just
Sound of a warthog.
there's just giant
going like,
shards of chitin just getting thrown into the air. Virgil and Catherine, you guys are also here. Do you want to say anything?
I don't think I have much to say.
So, it sounds like it's doing this as a defensive mechanism, but it doesn't affect you?
No, before, strangely enough. I mean, it's a good thing, but still very strange.
Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. I'm the only one who seems to be able to see it.
She looks around at you, Virgil, and Catherine. Is that true? You've never seen it?
I haven't, no.
I mean, no.
A little closer to the mic, Shawnee.
No,
Hmm.
my friend here is the only one who has.
It seems to be because it's magical for some. I'm versed in magic, and then she looks over to where Calliope went into the ship. He's a sorcerer.
Yeah, I think I picked up on that. They're always a bit of a special bunch.
Don't think even he understands the full extent of his abilities.
He, what are they called? I always have a hard time remembering. Not Iscardian demons.
Izunian?
Yes, that's it. He's one of them, right?
Yeah, he's from Azuni, but doesn't seem to know that he's from Azuni. I don't think he's even heard of where Azuni is, to be honest.
Well, Izuni has a very close relation with Kanan. It wouldn't be surprising to me if he just grew up in one of the two places.
There's a whole thing with him, but I don't think I'm qualified to go into it.
So which of you three are most acquainted with the Cherus?
I look to Virgil. Although I know a
Virgil
fair
looks
about it.
back. Well enough, I suppose. But I don't know. I think I was mostly Nashavite. A little bit of doctoring and learning from upstairs, but
You really don't think the black market would have anything for the reconstruction of our damaged portions?
oh, I'm reasonably certain the black market had everything. So,
And
I mean, that's
how
fair.
how would we access it?
Well, if I told you, it wouldn't exactly be a secret black market, now would it? Then again, this is Nartra, so it might not be that secret at all. But, formalities, right?
Could you access it for us?
Of course. He tilts his glasses and pushes. He does the fucking anime thing.
And what sort of trade do you think would be necessary for an engine?
Oh gosh, there could be all sorts of things. People,
We're
body parts,
also missing
labor.
the two elevation balloons. Those need to be replaced as well. She sighs. At this point, this does kind of feel like wishful thinking.
Question.
What's up?
So, I was just thinking. So this thing, this weird avian creature, is it like a worm, like a WYRM rather than?
It's more like a giant flying bug with a dragon head.
So, now, out of character, if I attempted to collect enough of its scales and weird, like, chitinous body plate, could I theoretically go full Monster Hunter and try and make a piece of equipment out of it?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Cool.
You want
Would
to
there
be
be
like
enough?
running around picking up shards of the carapace?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that like, could I like just get the chips from it?
Yeah, you just
so I
have
could make, like,
fucking
a scale
60
mail?
Rathalos shards.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
No problem.
Cool.
I don't pretend to be much of an expert in the black market. And I want you to understand, Virgil, I resent that I have to ask this question, but what's the trade rate for organs to metal?
Sylvia looks over her shoulder. What are they doing over there?
Well, DM, what's the trade rate for organs to metal?
Roll.
Do I have to roll history?
Not history. Roll an intelligence check.
Okay.
You're reasonably certain you could trade probably like 3 organs for 3 metal.
Well, organs of different types.
It sounds stupid because Virgil's stupid and he got a 9.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna re-roll that because my character deserves some bit more dignity. Please,
That's what I did.
dear God.
Does he really?
I hate everything.
You're pretty sure.
I hate everything.
You're pretty sure you could trade like 4 organs for 1 metal.
You know you can attempt to like search that, right?
Could have yeah.
Oh, right. That's a thing that I can do, isn't it? The whole surgy surge thing with the hit dice, right? Fuck it. I'm gonna surge that 9 intelligence.
You re-rolled it. It's a 6 now.
No,
You
you're
get to keep one, remember?
keep the highest.
I'm trying to make fun of him, guys. Come on.
It's not hard. You
Yeah.
can
But
find
he
another
does it
spot.
but he does it so well by himself.
Does a 13 work better?
Um,
This should be a relatively low DC. It's Virgil.
If you can explain to me why Virgil would have needed metal in the past, when he was
Doctor
young
equipment,
enough,
supplies.
when he was young enough to have been in the Eshify district, then sure.
Knives.
You mostly work with the black market in Canaan is the problem.
Fair, but knives. Regardless.
Yeah, knives were never expensive enough to need organs. You don't know what the exchange rate is.
I hate you. Why do you do this to
You
me?
just fucking get a knife from a shop, not the black market.
All right, hear me out.
Super nice.
All right,
A
okay.
fucking-
Kara, can I throw you a bone here?
Please.
Out of character for a second. Say that an engine like that costs 14K. Kidneys, healthy kidneys at least, are around $8,000 each when it comes to like buying and selling. Regardless, like on average. Not. It depends, obviously.
I'm so glad to know that.
So, theoretically, if you were to harvest the important organs, lungs, heart, kidneys, you would probably have enough for an engine and 2 balloons with a little bit left over, all things considered, from the 2 bodies that are right there.
If they're intact.
If they're intact.
Well, I mean, if I harvest everything there, assuming it's intact, we could definitely carry the 3.
You're not carrying shit, Kara.
Yeah. I'm carrying 3 metals for 2 organs, apparently.
I love playing video games.
It's a privilege watching your mind at work.
I'm sorry.
Well, if you don't have anything else to trade, we're gonna might have to let them do his disgusting work.
While that's happening, Calliope runs over to Kavi and is like, "Hey, so I've got all these pieces from that thing," and he points to the weird insect with the dragon head. Can you, like, make this a thing?
He holds up a bunch of like shards of chitin and
Chitin.
a bunch of shards of chitin and roll nature. Catherine.
All right.
Kaffawin.
Roll
Catherine.
nature.
Kavi.
Kaffawin.
Kavi.
Kaffawin. Ayukapo.
Huh.
You could probably make a super durable outer shell for your danger plant using that.
Okay. Yeah, this will be awesome.
Okay. For what?
Well, for me.
Oh, okay, well, pay me.
Pay him.
I am in rent.
That's
don't-
fair.
Were you actually paying for the rent of staying at That's an Alien House at all?
Yeah, why do you think you're in that house in the first place?
Yeah, like you're not
She's paying
you're
it by existing.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll give you half of it for the rent. The other half, I mean, assuming that this is a very, very, very cool thing that you're making, the other half is going to be costing gold.
I don't know. The rent of having the Azanales shelter you, I think, is worth a lot.
That means literally nothing to me.
Oh.
I've never been to any of the other districts. I don't know if they're nicer or worse. I only know that.
Okay. Azanales, we're the big guys around.
Okay.
We're awesome. And you are currently under the protection of the Azanales.
Okay. But if I don't give you this, will I stop being under the protection of the Antinils?
Don't tempt me.
All right. Well, I was just playing. I was just gonna give these to you, but I mean, now that you're being rude, he just kind of like drops them and walks back over to. He walks back over to the.
Do you want to get more? There's a lot more.
Yeah, no, Calliope goes and like gets more. It's like, all right, fine. I'm giving you these for in quotes rent, but out of all of them, there's so many more. Could you make something cool for me too?
Oh, sure.
Roll
Okay.
nature.
Why didn't you ask that in the first place?
Well, I was just expecting you to think that it was cool enough to make something for like me too. I don't know why I didn't think that. Yeah, okay, never mind.
Roll nature again, Shawnee.
All right. See? Yeah, I think I could come up with.
Oh yeah, you could, like, if he had a danger plant, you could make an even better outer shell for his danger plant.
I hate you, Eric. I'm gonna kill you, Eric.
She's not a blacksmith, bro.
Why
Eric
are
is
you?
being hella sarcastic today.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
are you
but-
why are you asking the biologist to make
Because
you?
Albus would only respond. Yara isn't in the call right now.
I mean, I could make something that would be, you know, an armor based on chitin. I don't know if it would be any better than.
You
Possibly
could
significantly
definitely
worse.
try to make the scale mill that he wants. But would it be good? Who knows?
Won't know until I try it.
Alright,
Yeah.
so
That reminds me, I really need to drop a plunder contract at some point.
A what?
Division of spoils.
Oh. Well, how long have you been adventuring together?
I don't know, like a day most.
It's been 3.
3 days. Yeah.
Including the trip up from the Cirque District 4. In fact, this is the morning of the 5th.
Yep, definitely needs to be one of those.
Huh. Didn't realize you were also fresh out of the gate. Makes sense why you don't really seem to have each other's backs, but that'll come with time.
Yeah, as long as they're in my crew, I have their back. That just doesn't mean I have to be, 100% supportive of all their actions. I mean, would you be? You've met them.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not even 100% supportive of all of my actions all the time.
I tend to be very selective with who I befriend. So, not saying I wouldn't befriend you.
Some of us are forged in fire.
What does that mean?
what does that mean? Calliope calls over. What does that mean?
Well, you were literally set on fire not a day ago, so yeah.
And I got burned in the gamer dimension.
The what?
It's a thing.
Yes! Yes, it's canon!
It's been canon.
I do not.
What on earth are they talking about?
So I can explain. Calliope walks back over after the.
No, you cannot.
I can, and I'm better than you at explaining.
Wait,
things.
wait,
You
wait,
really
wait,
are
wait.
not.
Need your help. Someone want to help me lug this thing's heart into the combustion chamber?
Alright, fine. You explain the gamer dimension. I'll be over here helping this guy with his cool heart.
Explain the what?
Shut up. Anyways, Calliope walks back over to the heart.
Alright. So, getting the heart into the airship. This is gonna take the better part of the day.
It's probably quite big.
Yeah, it's.
Does this count as a technology I can sense the intent of?
The heart itself is about as big as probably your bedroom. And yeah, you can sense the intent of this heart. It's to pump blood.
Nice. Then suddenly, Calliope gets an epiphany. Hey, Virgil! If you want to sell, like, big organs that are intact, or at least a couple of them, go into that thing.
Well, they're not exactly body parts.
Well, then what's... Yeah, they are. Look at them. It's
But
from
they
a
are.
body.
Yes, but not our body.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm using this one to power a machine. You could probably use the kidney to, like, filter out something. I don't know.
I
I
think
don't-
reasonably certain the magic is dead.
Bah. I'm still using this to power a machine. Go look in the guts.
I do not have the time of day to tell you why everything you just said was wrong, but I'm gonna let you guess.
He's busy lugging the heart.
I'm also not interested in your guess. So,
Guido sort of looks over to you, Amalia. I couldn't help but notice your freakishly large biceps. Could you help us with this too?
yeah, work it out. I'm proud of it.
It wasn't yes or no.
Kavi, can you explain?
I mean,
Wow, I was gonna say, can you explain? And then I just got to that bit, and I was like, I would love someone to explain. But yeah, if you could explain the thing while I help them.
okay. Well, at night, we all dream and we go to the same place and we, like, fight monsters, tour old weird buildings or whatever. And we don't know where it is and we don't know why, but
So Sylvia is walking with you as you help lug the heart, Amalia, and she starts writing something in a magical script in front of her, almost like she's taking notes, and she says, do you think that's why you're unaffected by the strange magic being purported by this outsider, as you referred to them?
Well, I can tell we don't really have any particular observation on this. Is
I
that
mean,
a
it makes
loser-
sense.
is that a losery script, by the way?
She stops. Yes.
Nice.
She
And-
resumes. She's a little flustered.
And Amalia's just gonna help heft the heart in.
So, yeah, like I said, this is going to take the better part of the day. You basically have to take apart and rearrange a lot of different parts of the actual airship just to get this thing into the chamber, because it's not going to fit through the doorway. The engine was kind of built in the engine room, not taken in, and this thing can't really be dismantled because it's an organ. Virgil, roll medicine to see how well you can keep the heart from bleeding out.
Oh goody.
Wait, I thought Kavi was the doctor. Yeah, Kavi's the
Kavi's
doctor.
the fucking doctor because Virgil can't do fucking shit.
Yeah,
I
Kavi's
I can assist you, or you can assist me.
We both have
Alright.
a 5 in medicine, but you have better luck, so why don't you try?
I have a 6 in medicine now.
God damn it.
So yeah, Kavi is the doctor.
Alright. Virgil?
Perhaps you would like to try instead. Hmm?
Alright, just point out the major arteries to me.
Here, and here.
Alright, so Virgil's like, I'll do it, guys. He clambers on top of the heart and just jams his limbs into the different fucking aortal valves, and blood's just gushing out around him, and he's like, ah! Catherine, you summon your danger plant, and it uses wood to just block off all the entrances. You also use like a barky sort of netting to make it so it also doesn't like distort and tear on any sharp edges that you guys are passing. You do a pretty good job just making sure it gets into the engine room intact. So by the time you guys get it in there, it's probably like you guys take a break around halfway through, and Sylvia goes out with the big shadow monster and brings back what's probably comparable in size to a moose, but it, instead of having antlers and like that sort of horse jaw, it has a raptor head and like thorned wings. But it's dead, and Sylvia cooks it, and it's food. Tastes a little gamey, but also a little chickeny.
So Calliope's kind of like looking pretty smug. I mean, Sylvia and what was his name?
Guido.
Guido. Guido just got their ass saved by this stroke of genius. Pretty cool
So
stuff.
you guys are sitting around a little fire with a rotisserie above it, and they're both eating their fill. You're looking a little smug. Does anyone want to have any scenes?
Hey, Guido.
What's up?
So, there was something I wanted to discuss with you about the elevator.
Elevator? You mean the lift system?
Yeah.
What about it?
So, from what he told me, the Arm are the ones who run the lift, but it's this other family that has the monopoly on it,
The Russell family.
and they're not a family of Arm. So,
On the contrary, they are. I'm actually a part of it. I've just, well, segregated. I was one of the founders.
you're one of the founders.
He nods. Yes. I actually came up to this region before the Russell family had any sort of establishment. It was first a name from Old Nazareth, one of a family of inventors that, well, they always wanted to innovate, but also to raise the bottom level up with them. The Russell family, as it currently exists, it thinks it upholds that, but it refuses to share its secrets for the betterment of its own stranglehold on electromancy. It thinks that if it jeopardizes that at all, the Eleusian true namers and the what were they called? He gestures to the big shadow monster. The hags that do that, they'll swoop in. The Bastio district is far elevated for a reason. It's because I think at the heart of the Russell family there is fear, and that is why I'm no longer a part of it. That said, I'm still relatively active in the city. It just happens to be in the lower tiers of the Twin Bridges district. I work with the New Blood Hunters.
I was gonna say, you guys perform what's an incredibly vital service in this city, and yet you don't get paid for it?
Pay is very weak in Nazareth. Money does not get you anywhere, really. It's a very interesting system to move to after seeing the rest of the world. Services beget services. There's no real currency. If I do you a favor, you do me a favor, and I agree. The Bastio district and the Russell family, well, they are probably what the whole of Nazareth is most indebted to, by way of the lift system. As we can see now that it's gone down, how helpless have the districts become. The Cherus district, the heart of the black market, it can no longer spread any of its influence. It can no longer take in, well, I suppose it has a good number of Eleusians in it right now, but you see my point. Everything's isolated. So of course you want an Arium. Of course everyone wants a fucking Arium. They want to get the lift system back. Well, I'm not interested.
Hey, this is super interesting. I do have a question though.
He looks at Calliope and takes another bite.
Can I have the thing that electrocuted me in the pile as kind of like workers' compensation for making you a new engine, or at least telling you that one worked?
He leans back. He's still holding his raptor moose burger with one hand, and he just sort of ruffles through the pile, which is thankfully right there with his other hand. He picks up what looks like a large sort of contraption that's like a floppy disk if you made it like a Lego brick and he tosses it at you.
How heavy is it, Eric?
Good 5 pounds.
All right. And is that the thing that did it?
Are you asking him?
No, I can see its intent.
Yes, it is the thing that did it. This
Is
thing's
that its original purpose?
it's a conduit.
Oh.
It transfers power.
All right, he grabbed it. Hey, I could make something kind of neat with this.
Bet you could.
So Maya is looking at Calliope, looking at Guido, looking at Calliope, and then looks back at Guido. In your professional opinion, what about him? I mean, he could run it.
Huh?
With the thing he does.
I think that there's a few possibilities there. The first is yes, and it works if he finds the switch that us Aurium can activate. The second is he shoves his arm into the slot that I ordinarily would, and the entire system kills him like it killed the other Aurium.
And also, I'm not probably gonna do that ever.
But he doesn't have to be plugged into the system. He can activate it from farther away.
And the problem is, the key is a lock. The system works in a vacuum. The locks are put there so that we're in control of it. Him making the lift system work, if it still does right now, anyways, wouldn't cause the lifts to go. He would need to activate the lock. And you can't see that from a distance. It's on the interior.
So,
And it would definitely kill him if he tried.
Well, no, I'm saying there's a reasonable chance it kills him. There's a reasonable chance. I have no idea what the fuck his powers do, and it works.
I mean, like, in all fairness, I don't either.
How old
Okay.
are you?
Me? I'm like, I don't know.
He
How
looks
old
at
are you?
Amalia.
No, she doesn't know.
I
Oh.
don't know.
Oh no, that was a look of incredulousness, not a look for an answer.
Okay.
I'm about 130.
All right, so like that, but like probably 110 years off. Something like that.
He's in his 20s or something like that.
Like, I'm not old. Look at me.
So I've had a few observations of him doing his thing. Near as I can figure, when he does the thing that he does, he's interacting with generally parts of MLS, I think.
I always imagined it as like the concept of what it does rather than what it does, like, physically.
All I'm saying is I don't have the answers, and if you want to experiment, go right ahead, but all I'm telling you is that if the system works, then you must be very careful.
Yeah, I'm not doing it though, so like, it's not that big of a deal.
He shrugs. Alright then. How are you, what's your background as a sailor?
Well, my father was part of a. I sailed with a bunch of people before, but the main one he sailed with was the Fairweathers. You ever heard of them?
Fairweathers. They did quite a lot of good work some time ago. Helped to round up the rapscallions that were escaping Canaan during the rebellion. And then after that, a few of them went missing, but from what I heard, they're relatively intact as of right now, right?
They're probably looking for Ada wherever he's turned up this time. So if you've seen them before, you've seen the cook, the one with the big guy with the white hair.
With the cannon and the axe.
Yeah, that's my dad.
He blinks.
I take more after my mom. Some-
Well, that explains the biceps.
I get told that a lot.
Are they eating the stuff on like plates, or is it just like here's?
Yeah, they have dishware. He brought it off the
Alright.
ship.
So like Calliope's holding the plate, with the weird dragon hand, and it's like making this really uncomfortable screeching, like scratching sound, like with like a fork on ceramic, because it's like the claw, because like you described it as like a scaly dragon hand, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just really awkward to talk over it.
So in a way, I've been sailing all my life, but when I first saw a ship, I knew there and then I didn't want to just be a sailor. I wanted to be a captain.
Well, as far as I can see it, we're buddies right now. And I wouldn't advise you to butt your head against ours. Anything happens to her, though, and he nods his head. I don't think Sylvia here would really like to occupy that position, so if you're open to employment, might extend that hand. I told you our name, right? Or did Sylvia?
What was it again?
The ship is the Black Flight, and they are called the Crow's Call.
Crow's Call, right?
He nods. Indeed.
So wait, is he offering me employment, or is he...
He's saying if anything happens to their captain, he's willing to vouch for you.
Who is your captain, anyway?
She's got a little bit of a reputation on her head. Are you familiar at all with the Silver Fay house name? Originates down in Ansaria.
You know something? I think I'm a little familiar with that.
Isalia is her name. She was traveling with her father for a good time some time before, but... well, things happened. The past catches up with you, and you're forced to either run away or consume it. In a weird way, she did both.
I'm gonna roll history on those names. I know, obviously, but...
Ansaria was the epicenter of a pretty historical event. You've basically, with the 22, you've had recounted in history books what happened at the end of Mysteries of Ascites. And Asalia was a name present there.
Wait. Lee and Zalia from, like, the old legends?
The very same.
Wow.
I wouldn't call them legends. I had a couple run-ins with that. Not the ones in the books, but some other folks around there. I was doing some scavenging of some... well, I guess they're not called Dodgery ruins anymore, but they were back then.
Oh, they're really... oh, the precursor ruins from the books there.
Shh. Sylvia's just sighing. It's getting a little late. I think... Sylvia speaks up. You guys say this curse is running rampant through the Sheriff's District. I hate to say it, but it sounds like you're the only ones that could really possibly get a handle on it, if you don't suffer from the effects that your paladin friend does. It feels a little irresponsible keeping you here. I think we can figure out our balloons. That said, and she fishes around in her cloak and takes out a rock. Throws it to you, Amalia. Keep in contact. If you know what illusory script is, I'm sure you know what that is as well.
Oh, sending stone?
She nods.
I haven't seen one of these in a while.
It's certainly pricey, so don't lose it.
What does it do?
I'll let your friend explain it.
Alright, do you know what, have you ever seen someone use the spell sending?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what the rock does. Sylvia has another one, and if I speak into this rock, she can hear what I say for hers.
That sounds very useful.
It is. That's why they're really expensive.
I made that one. Has a little design on the back if you look at it.
Oh yeah, so it does.
It has a face going like this.
Ha.
Ooh woo.
That's pretty good. So how late is it?
It's approaching dinner time. Fast forwarding to after you guys finish getting the heart into the ship. And it took you a good hour, 2 hours to get here. There's still been no sign of Inserafid.
We're gonna have to try and find him at some point. And she looks at her crew. Which do you think they can track him?
I mean, a learned paladin would probably stick out in the middle of the woods. I could probably just
Probably would.
shine.
And I'm a little worried that he doesn't.
I mean, I could just shine a light, and whatever gleams off is probably him. You want to like do that now, or like it's getting kind of late? He also has like a giant ass sword. He could probably be fine alone.
He does have a giant ass sword, doesn't he?
And also a bunch of demon killing stuff. So even if it's like not stuff that usually gets killed by giant badass swords, it's probably gonna die anyways. You just throw salt in it or whatever.
Eric,
What's up?
even though I wasn't able to determine what the true naming on his sword says, would I be able to, like, detect its presence?
I'm gonna say if you roll survival to track him, you can have advantage on the roll. Or you can either have advantage or you can add your intelligence modifier to the result. Your choice.
Well, considering I have a 0 in survival,
You also have your reroll still.
I'll go with the advantage.
Okay. So you retrace back to the brush that you were hiding under while you were observing Guido and Sylvia out here. And you find his tracks. He probably cast invisibility when he left. And it seems like he just followed your guys' trail here. to go back to the Cherus district.
Looks like he's headed. Looks like he went back. Gotta tell me, you have invisibility.
Hey, what if he was lying? I mean, it's not like a paladin cannot be an ass.
Lying about what?
I mean, like, we found out an injustice about how the lifts are powered. He just wanted to figure out how to power it again, or by getting a body of one of the, what are they called? Aryan, whatever. Doesn't
Can you
matter.
speak up a little bit?
Sorry. Arium, yeah. So, hear me out. If I were him, and I just wanted to get the lifts powered, and he knew that there was an Orium that we could talk to and learn about how the lifts were functionally powered, who would be there, I don't know how, and he didn't want us to, get bothered with the altercation of figuring out a better solution, or us no solution at all, considering it how, kind of weirdly immoral it is. Wouldn't it make sense that he would kind of, not want us to figure that out?
You're making a lot of assumptions. Like, he's only been here a month.
Okay. Well, then, it just doesn't make sense to me that, he knows about these people, but they don't know about him.
No, he knows about. He's definitely had an altercation with one. But it's not Sylvia and it's not Guido, it's whoever owns that
I don't know.
giant shadow creature would be my guess.
I guess. It's just that, maybe I just have a disposition towards paladins. They always seem like they're hiding something.
I'm not entirely sure he's hiding. I think he's just embarrassed to say that he got.
The shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
Roll insight, the both of you.
Okay. It's not gonna do anything about -2 to insight. Oh wait, no, I've got a +3 to insight. 20. That's not bad.
So after Amalia says that, yeah, that's exactly what it is. He's very prideful. And he got the shit kicked out of him.
Honestly, you might be right, but I'm still a little bit suspicious about his entire existence.
The guy drinks strawberry jam.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that Eric,
I'm telling you, he's part druid.
out of character for a second, I'm playing along with the fact that Calliope doesn't like paladins, but also I'm totally I'm completely under the impression that you would make an extremely likable character, just the worst. You would go full Castlevania.
I thought Frederick was the extremely likable character that I'm making the worst.
No, he was fine the whole time.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a privilege to see how your morals work. If I had to guess, I don't think he even knew that the Aurum power in the way they do it.
You guys are walking back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should tell him. Because that seems pretty evil.
You hear some raggedy breath up ahead, Amalia. And you're coming up over the crest of the hill that leads back to Cherus.
Yeah, that sounds like something fun up ahead.
Well, I mean, yeah. You want to, check it out, or are we just going to
Yeah.
wait here? Okay.
Keep your guard up.
Calliope raises his fists. He gave all of his weapons to Albus.
All right. So, as you progress forward, the raggedy breath becomes a lot clearer. There is a makeshift camp that's been made and then doused in a little grove of trees at the top of this hill. And leaning against a tree is Enserafid, there are large gaps in his armor that weren't there. Looks like portions of the metal were melted away. There's a lot of crossbow bolts sticking out of him, and he's got his sword sort of thrust into the ground, and he's holding onto it with both hands. A large portion of his forehead's covered in blood, and one of his eyes is squeezed shut with a large scar going over it that was not there. So I guess it's just a wound. As you guys approach him, he sort of really effortfully moves to look in your direction.
Hey, what happened?
The district. I tried to come back to get you. Couldn't make it. Can't walk anymore. I think my ankle's broken.
We have a doctor.
Virgil, V.
Yeah, I'm on it. Virgil, get behind me.
What did you learn from the crow's call?
Oriums are kind of unethically powering the lift.
Who
And
broke your leg?
anything? Ooh, be careful.
Who did break your leg?
The district is it's getting
just-
massacred.
Just in general, like right now?
What?
You know Frederick?
Yeah.
A lot of people like him.
Wow. Oh, damn it! They're just all over the place, huh?
I had to get out. Luckily, I was near the entrance. I didn't have to fight for very long. The parts of it that are closer to the center. He shakes his head a little bit. No hope for them. There's green flames, black smoke. I've never had to run from something like that before.
Oh, you made it happen. Okay. Jesus.
So he really works to straighten out his leg for you, and as he does, you can see that just the bottom half of his shin is splintered. Like, it's real bad, whatever hit his right leg. He's also still bleeding from the arrow wounds, but this guy's got a gnarly constitution, and as you're working on him, he takes out his alcohol flask and a rag, and he just dumps strawberry jam onto it and uses it to gag himself.
Aw, what a
They
weird.
spill a bit.
Is that straw? You know what? It's fine.
We were at trail. Right, Key? Key?
You were an you were in. What are they called again? Adsanail? Yeah,
Yeah.
you were an Adsanail.
Adsanail.
Is what he's saying.
Thank you, Clive. Well,
Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
you
Fair
need to
enough.
help
You're
your
an
family.
Okay, yeah. I missed the first. I missed
He's
the first.
trying to
sentence.
talk through his gag.
Okay, so basically he's saying that you're an Adsanail, your family might be in trouble.
Your family's definitely in trouble.
Your family's definitely in trouble.
Okay, we're going back right now.
Well, no, well, look at him.
I'm going back right now.
But we can't, but
Wait.
we need a doctor.
He hands you his sword, Catherine.
Well, I just wrapped up his leg. He'll
Alright,
be-
you know what?
he'll be fine.
Virgil, you want to see to the rest of his wounds? Or are you going to skip off with Kvi?
Virgil will attend to the other ones. Yeah.
Cla-
Like,
Cla-
I really shouldn't leave the patient. I got it. I've got it from here.
Calliope gives Catherine a thumbs up. It's like, fuck him up.
Alright. So,
I'm going.
Well, I don't know about me. I don't have any. Listen,
If they kill everyone in that district, they'll come and slaughter you next. If you're gonna fight for anything, at least fight for your own fucking survival.
I'm asking you for a
I
weapon.
mean, it's really unethical to leave a patient with wounds and. Okay,
Instrafid
fine.
waves his hand and he says, I can take care of the rest after I get some sleep. The lake was the biggest issue. Can you dump some leaves and mud on me?
Sure.
Thanks.
And Fee digs around in her pack for vaguely medicinal leaves and mud.
Oh no,
They're the
just
closest thing.
he's asking you to camouflage him.
Oh,
Flappy tries to reiterate to Amalia. It's just like, I wasn't going to not come with you. I just need a weapon. And Albus is busy responding.
Instrafid's hand rotates 30 degrees and he hands you the greatsword.
Me?
Yep.
Like me. Can Calliope lift it?
It's like 40 pounds, so you can't wield it, but you can carry it.
Here, Amalia will give him the transforming flintlock rapier.
A weapon of Canehurst.
You have that. I'll take this. You're not the only one here with the muscles to wield the damn thing.
Yeah, basically.
Alright? I'll put that in your character sheet at some point, Amalia, because I have to go to work immediately after this. And
Dirty, huh?
as you guys crest the hill, you move down into a copse of trees where the canopy breaks, and off in the distance you see the tall walls gating off Cherus. And there's a single individual walking out of the gates, wearing the same garb that Frederick does, and dragging a body behind them by the ankle, approaching a massive flaming pile of corpses that it throws the body into, before turning around, brandishing what looks to be some sort of scythe-like weapon, and walking back into the district.
It really is just Yarnum post-blood infection. Yikes.
On the wind, you can hear screams, you can smell smoke, and you can feel the heat of the fires. And that is where we will pick up next time.